Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and my training footage this week of me doing push presses has actually raised quite a few questions people had about rack position and how you hold your hands under a bar. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. And I've had some people say, hey, doesn't that hurt your wrist? You've got your wrist bent back and you've got the bar setting back here in your palm and everything when you're doing your overhead pressing. Doesn't that hurt your wrist? And the answer is no, because I've built my wrist and hands up with lots of other training. And usually people who have problems like that, like they have grip strength problems, like they go to deadlift 500 pounds and they struggle holding onto the bar. People who have different problems with their wrist, things like that, are because they've used tools to assist them like wrist straps and they've made their hands and things weaker. Because they've used an incorrect grip for too long on different exercises, they've created weaknesses in their hands and wrist, and because of that, yeah, your hands might hurt, your wrist might hurt. But if you do it correctly and you gradually build it up, these problems go away. Now, some people are like, well, why are you doing that sort of grip? I mean, I can understand if you were doing full Olympic lifts or maybe different types of push presses, but you do it even for your strict overhead pressing. And that's correct, and that's one of the things that makes the overhead press a longer range of motion exercise, the ability to rotate your hands freely, because you're not using a thumb over grip and gripping the bar. You've got it racked back in your hand, okay? What that allows is for you to tuck the elbows more at the bottom, and it allows for a deeper stretch, all right? You can bring the bar down deeper, and you can rest it on your chest easier in that position. And because your hands can rotate freely when you lock it out at the top, you can turn your elbows out. All right, the ability to do those things allows for a longer range of motion. And what does longer range of motion do? It allows for better overall muscular development, and it allows you to put your elbows into positions that put the least stress on your rotator cuffs. It's easier on your shoulder joints. When you have your hands locked in a fixed position, you can't bring the bar down as far. You've got to get your grip out different, everything else to bring the bar down as far. You have to flare your elbows more at the bottom. You can create extra stress on your rotator cuffs and on your joints that they don't need. And you're also forced to limit your range of motion to some extent. And again, anytime you limit your range of motion from what should be a normal, natural, healthy range of motion, you risk less overall development. People need to understand the overhead press is a fantastic overall mass builder because it incorporates so many muscle groups. And again, by limiting the range of motion, you can get underdevelopment in some of those muscle groups. Again, you see people who complain they don't have an upper chest. Maybe they're not overhead pressing often enough or using the correct technique to allow them to build their upper chest. It's a fantastic upper chest exercise. Same thing, people who struggle with the long head of their tricep. Maybe they're not utilizing enough muscles in their overhead press. Maybe they're not focusing on it enough. It's a fantastic exercise. But you've got to do it correctly, and by doing it correctly, it allows you to get the most out of the exercise, and it puts the least stress possible on your shoulder joints. And using a grip like that allows you to do all that. It allows you to get the most range of motion with the least stress on the shoulder joints. And that's a good thing. That's what we should want. So that's what's going on. And the difference is, you know, people are like, well, I worry about hurting my wrist and everything else. Well, a lot of that comes down to what sort of variation of it you're doing. Most people who complain about wrist hurting, I've seen from doing overhead pressing, again, it's lack of flexibility, and you could do stuff like this to stretch it. Not having all of that connective tissue strong enough, or because they're doing silly stuff like pressing out of a rack, right? And they're pressing out of a rack so that it's hitting pins and things and thus limiting their range of motion, but also that hard touch on the pins. And there's definitely some YouTubers out there who you see doing that. They're doing pin presses on the overhead press. That's going to hurt your joints. Doing the exercise correctly and gradually building up your strength, if you do have limitations in your wrist and hands, just like any other exercise, it will adapt and build up over time. If it's hurting, you need to back off, deload, and work on building the strength back up gradually and give these things time to recover like everything else, and you'll be fine. But yeah, that is the correct way to do it. And so I'll go ahead and end this, and I'll flip in some videos of me doing it again from earlier this week. So I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.